Good morning, everyone. My name is Sonia Holtz, and I am your CFWC Communications Chairman. Welcome to today's workshop. Today, we're going to be talking all about finances, treasurer, taxes, things that you need to know to run a nonprofit. It'll be very confusing. We have an incredible team here today to talk. We have Marcia LaRusso, we have Jill Drescher, and Deb Bushnell. So sit back, get your paper out so you can make notes, and we are really happy to have you. Now, all of these recordings will be on YouTube on Monday. All right. See.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you, hon. All right, without any, Debbie, did you have something that you wanted to say?
I really wanted to remind everybody to mute themselves. You're all muted right now. If during question time you unmute yourself to ask a question, please mute yourself again so that we don't pick up random noise and we don't conflict with the speaker's voices. That's all.
Thank you so much for that reminder. I appreciate that. All right, everyone, we are going to, I imagine that we're starting with Marcia. Marcia, are you the first speaker?
Correct.
All right, very good. Then I'm going to go ahead and hand the floor over to you. Thank you so much, and I'm going to go ahead and mute.
Okay. Welcome to the GFWC, California Federation of Women's Club Finance Workshop 101. Now, before I begin, I want everybody to know that the finance team is made up of the California Federation of Women's Club, which is Barbara Briley-Beard, Sonia Matisse, which is the first vice president, Jill Drescher, who's the treasurer, Deborah Bushnell, who's the financial secretary, and myself, Marcia LaRusso. I'm the director of finance. Now, you're probably asking yourself, why and how did I end up in this position? Well, the simple answer is that you said yes when someone asked you to run for this position, whether it's club treasurer, financial secretary, or now you're on the district board in this position. Remember, you said yes. So congratulations. Please know that the finance team members are here for your assistance and guidance. We're only a quick phone call away. Now, for those who are new to your position, here are some tips to get started. First thing you should always do is read the bylaws and standing rules. In the bylaws, you will find a wealth of information. Your job will be defined in the bylaws and will give you the scope of what your job entails. It will provide information on how much dues are, how many members need to sign a check, who is responsible for signing a check. Speaking of who's responsible for signing a check, make sure that you made an appointment at your bank and update the signature cards. Now that you are armed with all that knowledge, did the previous treasurer meet with you in person and show you how everything has been done? Familiarize yourself with the bookkeeping system. It can be as simple as an Excel spreadsheet with a cash flow statement for reporting purposes, or it could be more complex. Does your club use QuickBooks or another software system? Do you know how to use it? Is there a procedure book that entails how to make a deposit or write a check? Make a timeline for the club year of all the different activities that it participates in. This will help you to organize when payments are due and a good idea of the amount of time it will take to record the information so you don't have to stress over running out of time. The one task you will perform every month is a bank reconciliation. This helps to ensure that all deposits have been made and properly reported. It also helps to know that all checks were similarly recorded and which ones have cleared the bank and which ones are still outstanding. The ultimate goal here is to ensure that the adjusted bank balance matches what is recorded in the books. For those of you who are new to bank reconciliation, I thought a quick review might be in order. The first thing I do when starting a bank reconciliation is to look at the bank statement. I make note of all the deposits the bank recorded during the month. I also make note of the checks that cleared the bank. I compare those with the deposits and checks recorded on the books. If there are discrepancies, I make note of these and look for the reason for the discrepancy. Usually, a discrepancy in deposit results from deposits recorded on the books near the end of the month that may have been brought to the bank after the close of the banking period. These are called deposits in transit and should be added to the ending bank balance. Another reason for a discrepancy in deposit is something may have been forgotten and not recorded on the books. If this is the case, corrections need to be made. Discrepancies in the checks written usually results from checks that have not cleared and are still outstanding at the end of the month. These are called outstanding checks and should be subtracted from the ending bank balance. Once in a great while, you may run across a check that the bank cleared but is not recorded on the books. This should not happen, but sometimes it does, and corrections need to be made. I create a spreadsheet, Excel is great for this, that compares the balance per books after all adjustments are accounted for with the adjusted bank balance as described previously. If the accounting gods are happy, this day everything will balance. If not, you must put on your detective hat and look for why this does not balance. Now, in your handout, you will get, I put in an example of a bank reconciliation, so you'll be able to see what it looks like. And the adjusted book balance and the adjusted bank balance must match each other. So this is very basic accounting, and I hope that this was helpful and that the next time we're going to report how to report your club's income and expenses, also known as a profit and loss statement. And now, Jill will discuss the budget.
This is very, very basic. One of the most important things for our clubs and districts is to review our finances and plan for the future. One way we do that is by creating a budget. A budget is a planning tool that reflects an organization's programs, mission, and strategic plan. They are usually done for a year or a term. This is the whole club's responsibility, but generally is delegated to a committee and then presented to the club or district for approval. A budget serves as a guide, but it is not written in stone because the financial condition may change. Not only are you planning for the future, but assessing your financial health. It's common to review it during the year, as we do at state in February, to determine if we are on track. You will probably refer to your budget often. Always remember that those figures are not set in stone and can be revised as needed. Budgets don't have to balance, but it looks nice. And we usually make some adjustments so that they do. In preparing your budget, there are some things you should consider. One, determine the timeline. What period of time is the budget for? When does it have to be approved and how long will that take? It should be approved before the beginning of each fiscal year or when you start your meetings again. To agree on your goals. What are your projects? Are you planning something new? Do you have a clubhouse? They always need maintenance. 3, understand your current financial situation. Review your current income and expenses compared to what you projected last year. Analyze and understand the variances. During COVID, my club, we were not able to rent out our clubhouse and our income went down. We needed extensive repair on a door costing far in excess what we had originally anticipated. And also for some reason, our water bill has gone up considerably. Number 4, agree on how you're going to prepare your budget. Do you have a committee? My club's bylaws include the treasurer, first vice president, president, who is on every committee except nominating, a chairman appointed by the president, and 1 person assigned from the floor. All have some working financial knowledge of the club or district. 5, know your income and expenses. I have attached, and you will get in a handout, a budget for my club. It was prepared by the treasurer, the first vice president. You'll note I like cats, so there's a cat on there. Attaches a budget for the my club. It was prepared by the treasurer, first vice president, auditor, club president, and a member appointed from the floor. We met and talked about the club. After COVID, rentals are back to normal. We're happy that this year that we will once again be able to host the holiday party for our special needs high school students. A couple of years ago, we received a generous grant from the prison and Walmart, double what we needed. The excess was earmarked for future use for the same project, and we still budgeted an amount so that we would not run short. We have done these projects for a number of years, so we have a good working knowledge of what funds are required. 6, the budget is presented to the executive board at the first meeting of the year, the first executive board meeting, and then proposed budget is presented to the members, and they are free to express their concerns. The budget is voted on and hopefully approved. 7, every meeting we receive a written report from our treasurer with a recap of the last month's income and expenses. Also listed are the bank balances. This can help nip a problem in the bud. For example, we know we have a water issue. These reports are filed. I just want to hold this up. This is my club's yearbook, and we have for every month, we have our program, who our hostesses are. But what is very nice is that we get the report from the treasurer with the bank balances and our minutes. So everything is the size so it can go right in the book. Maybe a lot of you do that. We've done this for the last few years and it's very, very nice. One good thing my club has done is we have these minutes and financial statements printed on the same size paper as our yearbook with pre-punched holes. This way they can easily be filed for future reference. And 8, lastly, don't forget that the information will be very helpful to you if your club writes reports, and I'm sure that Sonia Matisse hopes that you do. I realize that this is very simplistic and would not be very helpful to our larger clubs who have large fundraisers and accountants. We are directing this workshop to clubs that file your 990 and postcards, those with income less than $50,000. Our hope is that you continue to file all your necessary paperwork with all the regulatory agencies. If you do that, we are confident, the finance team is confident that you will enjoy your membership in Federation and have a very worthwhile experience. Those is very simple. Thank you.
Okay, now Deborah Bushnell has something very quick that she would like to add.
Oh, I think just
see, I wasn't prepared. Good morning, everyone. Just a couple of dates that you need to be aware of. For new and late paying members, all clubs must have their dues to their district treasurer by December 1st. District treasurer's dues are due to me by December 15th. So don't forget those dates. Clubs to the district by December 1st, district to me by December 15th. Thank you.
Okay, that concludes our portion.
Thank you very much. We really appreciate that. So we are going to open the floor now for questions on the things that they have presented. Does anyone have a question for our finance team? So Marcia, why don't you, I know that you get a lot of questions repeatedly. Why don't you say one of the questions that you get on a regular basis maybe, and then the answer for that, and that will kind of warm up the room.
Okay, well, one of the questions we get repeatedly is, I don't have to file. And that is totally wrong. Every club, every district has to must file a tax return. Most of the clubs are capable of just filing a 990N postcard, which is very simple to access irs.gov. And it is so simple to file and meet your filing requirements that I don't understand why people really have a problem. But our goal this year is to have every club and district be in compliance with this taxing agencies. So, and we are available. If you need help, I can walk you through it. We are available here, either by email or telephone call.
Fantastic. Thank you, Marcia. You do have one question. Apologize. We have Debbie Adams. Debbie, you have a question?
Yes, I just wanted to ask, when you talked about doing a budget for the club, we do a budget and we put it into our yearbook, and then we do the monthly profit loss that we report each month to the members. Is there some type of a form or a procedure that you would recommend when we notice that we have a variance in the budget? Like if we've gone over on something that we've budgeted, should that be brought up each month? And should it be voted on when we go over, or how does that work?
Well, for example, my club knew that they had a water issue, so we started to check, and we found a leak. So I mean, and so that we had that fixed. But it may be not anything to worry about. Maybe this is just a change, and that it's a valid. I would think. For example, our water bill doubled, so we knew that that's a problem. But depending on how much it's off, it might be just fine. But it sounds like you do exactly what my club does. The treasurer has the income and then the expenses that every month, and that is helpful. But it sounds like you're doing a fine job for.
Thank you very much for that question. My dogs have decided it's important to let themselves be known. So greet my dogs. Anyone else in the room have any questions or comments? This is that time to really get some information. Debbie, do you have a question or a comment?
Just kind of a comment to follow up. I know my club also has a budget that we publish. And both the financial secretary and treasurer give reports every month. We find that if we're just a little over budget, that happens. But if there is suddenly an expense that we hadn't planned on, we didn't budget for, the membership, our membership has to vote on it. Our board, our bylaws specify how much the board can spend without getting approval of the membership at large. So if something happens, like one year somebody kind of hit the gas pedal and ran into a side of the building. That was nothing we budgeted for. Fortunately, the insurance covered most of it, but they didn't cover all of it. So, you know, we did fix it as an emergency measure, but then it went, even though we had already taken care of fixing what needed to be done, we still brought it to the membership so that they could sort of approve it backwards to make sure they knew about it. So little overruns in the budget, we don't really worry about. We worry about the big ones, and we try to get approval ahead of time. That's kind of what we do.
Did the finance team want to respond, or do you want me to go to the next question?
I don't think it needs a response.
No. Okay, fantastic. Then I'm going to move on to the next question. Is Sandy Tessier from Orange. Sandy.
Hi, and I'm not a finance person, and I'm here just to learn more, but I have a question, and if it's too simple, forgive me. But Marcia, you were saying that you want, pardon me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Please keep going.
Oh, okay. That you wanted 100% compliance on filing, on clubs filing their IRS. Is there a way that we can know whether or not they filed?
I can go online and look at the IRS website and see who has not filed, but we're talking over 200 clubs, and I really don't want to spend that kind of time. We are trying to devise a question that will appear on the club information form. And that question is going to entail, when was the last time they filed a return? So so this time, because something needs to be done, because clubs are not filing. And if you don't file for 3 straight years, you automatically lose your tax exempt status.
I think I have clubs that are defiantly just closing theirs and saying we don't have to, and not doing it. And I'd like to know who they are. I have a feeling I know who they are, but I want to be able to say, hey, guess what? You didn't do this, and let's help you do it.
Well, you as district president can simply call your clubs, or when you have a district meeting, you can ask them whether or not they filed. So you can keep track of them that way.
If they tell you the truth.
Well, they all tell the truth.
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. So it is a problem, and it's a problem we're having. And with the clubs that are under our umbrella, if they don't file, they're putting the state's exemption in jeopardy.
Yeah.
So that's why we have to be on top of this.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Sandy. Anyone else have a question or a comment for the team? So let's go into, Jill, in your particular office, what are some of the questions that you get on a regular basis that you may be able to throw out that they would understand what you're...
I am personally not getting, most of the questions are being directed to Marcia, and most of them, it's not going to be addressed today, but I think she would agree that she gets a lot of questions about the raffle permits. She's laughing. But and we do get a lot of, we have talked about what we might do with putting something on the club information form about finding out when clubs had filed last, and we realize that we have to be more proactive in trying to help some of the clubs and districts. And we were going to start, there is a report that we work with to see who's under our umbrella. And I think the most recent one that we have is from 2020. It includes a number of, not all the clubs are under our umbrella, not all the districts. Some of them are private foundations, or they have their own tax exempt number. San Joaquin, or the Kern district did for a while, and then the treasurer after me did have them placed under our umbrella, which was probably a good thing. But I think most of the questions are, and I have recently in the last few months written several letters so that clubs or districts can give to their donors that they are under our umbrella and are a valid 501c3. But this is probably going to be our biggest job as a finance group, is maybe doing something to ensure that our clubs are compliant, because we really fear that there's more than we suspect are not filing just because they believe that they don't have to.
So as a club president, I actually have a question. So we had a CPA do our books for many, many years. And then when she sent me the contract this year, I'm a brand new president. I haven't served as a president before. Some of the verbiage in her contract made me not sure if we got into trouble, she would actually have our back. Is there a standard for CPAs that you look for nonprofits?
There is usually a verbiage that they use that probably is meaningless to most people because they don't even understand what they're reading. But most CPAs, they do not do an audit. They do a compilation, which is just simply making sure that the books agree with the bank and that any adjusting journal entries such as depreciation or inventory is taken into account. But what she's saying is they're not auditing, so they can't certify what's in your books.
And they're not responsible for anything.
No, ultimately the club is responsible for what's in the books there.
Okay, because I read that and I thought, oh my goodness, does that mean that if we went to court over something, then it's on, because anyway, it's really good to hear that there's other people and that's just the standard contract.
How big is your club? How big is the club?
Well, we don't have a very large club. We vacillate between, like 30 to 40, but we have, we sold a clubhouse, so we have quite a bit in our bank. So that's why we make sure that everything is way above board, and we're very particular about the way that it's run behind the scenes. So that's why I was wondering if that made a difference. I don't know if that makes a difference at all.
No, but you should have no problem having the CPA do your tax returns and everything. So you should be good.
All right, thank you very much. I appreciate that. All right, we have a share on the floor, or a comment or a question by Sheila. Sheila, you have a comment or a question?
Actually, yes, it's piggyback on yours. Our CPA, she was with a company, and the membership voted to have her do our taxes. Now she's no longer with that company, and I had the same feeling of, is there like a bond or something that they usually take out and to where if we had to go to court over something that was it was seen as not correct, would we be covered? That was my question too.
No, most CPAs do not do an audit, and that's the only way that they would be able to uphold everything that's in the book. So they are not auditing your books, and I can tell you by the price that you pay them that they do not perform an audit. But what they're doing is a compilation just to make sure that your books and records are in order. Ultimately, it's up to the club to make sure that everything is above board.
Thank you very much for those answers and those questions. I think sometimes as a new president, those are those kind of things. I'm so glad I'm here today. All right, anyone else in the room have any questions for this the team of 3. You can ask any one of them a question if you wish. Catherine Chu, you have a question, please?
Hi, yes, good morning, ladies. I'm sorry, I have my video off because I'm having a privacy issue because I'm using my work desk. I have a question regarding finance and treasurer's reports and distribution of those reports. I have probably 4 clubs in my district, and including my district, that has a policy that they do not print out their finance reports or treasurer's reports. I noticed at the state board this weekend as well, the financial report and treasurer's report, they were verbally itemized and given to the board, but we also did not receive a copy. Now, we do circulate our budget, and we send that out in the newsletter and distribute it and give it to our members. But with our finance and treasurer, they tell the members, if you want to see the books, I'm available. If you want to come and sit with me, you're welcome to take a look at the books. But they do not want to make copies and give it to the members. It has the check number, who it was written to, and the amount. So they just read it off. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Okay, Kat, all of our reports are available. All you have to do is email us and we'll send you a copy. We do not make copies for the entire executive board. The executive committee receives copies. So, but we are very willing to give you any copies that you desire. Just email me.
Thank you. I think it was just a question, and I know it's determined by the club and determined by our executive committee. Our committee does also receive hard copies, but when I asked them about making copies and sending them out, we had a huge issue these past 2 years with our records being lost or getting into the hands of those who they were not supposed to be in the hands of. And so I think they're just being very careful with it. But telling any of our members or even the public, since we're a nonprofit, they want to see the books. Have you had that happen? And do you just make an appointment for them to come and take a look at the books? Because I think if the public came to you and said, I want to see, last month's records, are you actually making copies and sending it out to them? Or are you scheduling a time and saying, anytime that you want to come in, I'm here and I can open the books for you, but about actually making copies and sending it out, is that something that the state does?
I received one request they wanted a copy of our warrant report, what the number, the different checks that I had written since the last board meeting, and they wanted a copy of my written report, and I provided it to them. So.
Okay, thank you.
But that wasn't somebody from the public. I've never had a request from the public for our books, and you know, that would be difficult because we don't have an office. And, but the books are available, I guess, if somebody wanted to come in, and they would have to make an appointment with me, but I've never had that request. But I have no problem with giving the executive board members that are there at the board meeting to give them a written copy.
All right, thank you.
Thank you so much for that question. Our next question or comment comes from Gloria. Gloria, you're going to have to unmute, love. Unmute, sweetheart. There you go. There you go.
Okay. I have a question regarding, are we supposed to file S-100? Our past treasurer has been ill, and we were not able to get her folder to hand to our new treasurer. So I know about the 990M that needs to be filed soon, but the S-100, Is that another form tax that we need to file also?
Yes, but every other year.
Every other year. Okay.
Yes. And
thank you.
That you can go online to the Secretary of State and they will let you know whether or not it's due.
Okay, thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Gloria. Our next question comes from Sherry Kelly. Sherry.
Thank you, Sonia. I want to go back real quickly to Kat's question. Should a member club of a district be allowed, or if that's not even the right word, to request a copy of the financials of the district? Not necessarily a hard copy, but to be emailed a copy. I understand printing copies for everybody, they end up in the trash. Nobody wants to do all that. I don't want to do it as president of my club. But if somebody asks for a copy, can it not be emailed to them? Is there a reason why that shouldn't happen?
Yeah. I have no idea why a copy can't be emailed. Okay. As long as we know who the person is, that it's an actual member, I don't know why you can't email a copy to them.
Did that answer your question, Sherry?
It did, thank you.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much. All right, anyone else in the room have anything in particular that they'd like to ask? There's some great questions today. And you know, you have to remember that there is no stupid question. We are all learning. And the one thing that I learned was I didn't move up the steps to club president. I jumped from parliamentarian to president. So, you know, sometimes those things happen and you don't have the training that you would have had if you took every step. So you are welcome to ask all questions in these rooms. With that, I think I'm going to turn off the recording. And then if you have anything else that you'd like to share after that, hang on just one moment, please.